Hi everyone, this is Darren with SimNation. Just doing a quick video around the SNCFL's playoffs. Tonight is, of course, the championship game. SNCFL is a draft day sports college football 2025 league. We will move to 2026 when the season ends. Probably not going to be upgrading as much after this season unless there's major feature enhancements. It's just I think that 2026 does actually have some, and I'm gonna do a whole different video on that. But tonight's really two teams going at it and seeing who wins. So we'll go ahead and get started here, and I'm gonna go ahead and import the things and then kind of talk through how we got here. So give me 1 second. Okay, so let's import. I think I forgot to import, but it doesn't matter. I'm not very confident about my ability to beat who I'm playing tonight anyways. He's having a tremendous season, and we'll talk about his team in a second. So we should be imported. So normally I would broadcast this. Again, having some issues with my headset, so I'm not going to push my luck tonight. But he's imported, so we're good. So let's just go to playoffs, and we'll kind of talk about what has happened. Let's go to polls. Just flick it. Okay, so the two teams that will face off tonight are two teams that know each other fairly well, or two coaches who know each other fairly well. Stuart and I play almost every season, whether it's UCLA versus Washington or Maryland versus Michigan. And both of these teams, so like UCLA versus Washington, Stuart owns Washington. Maryland versus Michigan, typically Maryland owns Michigan. Um, so Stuart and I know each other very, very well as coaches. And normally these games are really, really good because of the fact that we're trying to trip each other up. So how did we get here? So Maryland in the first round took on Tony and managed to squeak past SMU in a very spirited game that saw Maryland have to come from behind in the second half and win that. UCLA easily beat Ohio State. Of course, Ohio State is without Shark, so maybe a little bit easier to beat. But regardless, Condon had a great game in that one. And then, of course, in the Maryland game, it was really Chung and Logsdon who brought them back. And you'll see that being a trend throughout these games. In the next round, it was essentially uh, Stuart taking on Clemson with Matt. Of course, Matt is the defending champion, and Stuart managed to get past him in the fourth quarter. As you can see again, a central theme here throughout the playoffs and throughout the season has been the play of Julian Condon. I think it's Julian, yeah, who just has been very exceptional throughout. In this game, they scored with 41 seconds left to win the game after Matt kicked a field goal to kind of try to extend his lead. Um, so, and then of course Maryland took on a CPU team in Colorado State and thumped them 64 to 30. The game was really over in the first half. Logsdon again having a great game. So did Chung for that matter. And then going into the semifinals, Stuart took on Invisible Witness, who has Auburn. Again, another really solid game from Condon in UCLA. You can see how Condon had 4 touchdowns. Cortez ran the ball, 20 rushes for 120 yards, and just a solid game from him. In the case of Maryland, they took on Oklahoma State, who's Skelter, and they squeaked past Skelter. Um, in overtime, essentially double overtime. They had the game 35-21 with 7 minutes left, and then Skelter just came roaring back and managed to tie it up. And then, of course, they exchanged touchdowns in the first round, and then in the second round, Skelter kicked a field goal, and then Maryland, of course, scored. Um, Thankfully, Maryland lost Logsdon like in the first series of the game after he had fumbled the ball, and so they had to play the backup Grossman, who hasn't really seen much time at all. At the same time, Oklahoma State was out without Durand, who is their very exceptional running back. and that kind of changed the dynamic of the game a little bit. So full transparency, if you're watching this and you're Stuart, this is a spoiler. I am hopefully not going to spoil it for you because I'll put all over the video spoiler. But if you look at the matchup of these two teams, they are probably the two powerhouses of the league between Maryland and UCLA. These are two teams that historically are always uh, in the playoffs, always winning their conferences, always really having a strong chance to go undefeated. Um, so this one should be a really, really good game. As you can see, UCLA has a very, very balanced offense. That's a staple of Stuart. Disregard the record versus Maryland being 2-10. He has beaten Maryland in the playoffs, not in a championship game. So my hope is he breaks through tonight. It's really weird not to root for yourself, but in this case, as a commissioner, I'd root for Stuart because I always like seeing someone win. Um, Defense, again, very balanced defense. He's got the best defense in the Pac-12, top 25 defense in all categories, in most cases a top 10. The guy to watch throughout this game is going to be Julian Condon. For UCLA, the key is that they have to shut down Maryland's rushing attack, because if the rushing attack from Maryland gets going, essentially it's going to open up the passing lanes for Shaka Chung, who's the talented freshman quarterback for Maryland. And if he gets going, it's pretty much going to be over. Now, on conversely, Maryland has to get pressure on Julian Condon. No one has really done it much this season. If Maryland's going to have a chance to beat UCLA, they really have to bring basically the front seven after him on almost every down. Because he is just that good of a passer. He's likely going to be a top 5, if not top pick in next year's draft within the WWPF. On the Maryland side, you can see that, again, top-rated offense. Rushing attack maybe not as strong as that of UCLA's, but they do have a very talented senior running back in Manual Logsdon, who you see is over 2,000 yards on the season. He can take over games. The defense is extremely strong, just like UCLA, and this could turn into actually a defensive slugfest, just with how good these two defenses are. So without further ado, I think they're also both undefeated, if I remember correctly. We'll check that real quick. So I know Maryland is undefeated at 16-0. UCLA is also 16-0. So you have a battle of two undefeated teams going on here. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. I'll sim this. I do this just mostly as like a quick courtesy. Again, I do want to broadcast these going forward, but just I don't have the time tonight, and also with the speaker issues I'm having, I don't think I could. So we are just going to sim the playoff round, and then I'm gonna hop back and take a look at it. So as we can see here, unfortunately, sorry Stuart, Maryland ekes out a victory. Kind of look at what happened here. So quickly see that UCLA scored first, making it 7-0 off a pass from Julian Condon to Donald Nunez of 29 yards. Maryland came back and scored probably on the next series. Probably could look at that. We'll just look at that since I can't really broadcast it. So we'll just start here. So what you see in this first series is UCLA marched the ball down the field, missed a field goal. Maryland then got the ball with pretty decent field position, marched all the way down to the UCLA 11 before Shaka was basically sacked on 2 straight plays. And of course, Maryland then missed a field goal. That's not normal for either of these two kickers. Both UCLA and Maryland have really good kickers. Then you see Maryland held UCLA to a 3-and-out. And then Maryland got the ball back, good rush there. And then there was a fumble essentially on the pass completion caused by Gagnon, who's a really good defender for Stuart. They get the ball back, march down the field, and essentially score with Condon finding Nunez for 29 yards, make it 7-0. They kick it off through the end zone. Maryland gets the ball, manages to move down the field, gets a little bit of help from UCLA along the way, and then they score with 1:35 left on a Logsdon 3-yard touchdown rush, really powered by this play from Chung to Hess. They kick it off, but this time there's a return. UCLA gets the ball. Looks like they're bringing it down the field again. They get to the Maryland 36 when the first quarter ends, and then on the very next play, same thing happens to UCLA that happened to Maryland earlier. Pass completion to Latham and Middleton, who is a really good defensive back for Maryland, pops it out, and Maryland gets the ball on their own 36, and they can't really do anything. They get a first down or two, and then have to punt. And then the same thing happens with UCLA. Again, like I mentioned earlier, these two teams are pretty comparable when it comes to defense. Chung gets sacked again. That's been a problem for Maryland this year. Logsdon gets a 9-yard rush after getting the ball with decent field position. And then, of course, Chung likes to throw the ball long. That's part of Maryland's offense, and finds Hess for 52 yards. Hess is one of the best wide receivers in the league. Maryland goes up 14-7. They then kick it off, and you see that Condon gets hurt, which not kind of the way you want to see that. But he comes back on the next play and is able to play. And then the punt is blocked, which gives Maryland the ball in really good position at the UCLA 17, but they can't do anything with it because Chung gets sacked 2 out of the 3 plays and then the first to punt. Don't know that I would have liked that, but I think I have Maryland set to conservative, so that makes sense why they would have punted instead of tried the field goal, especially after missing one earlier. And then again, you see here that Stuart tries to run the ball a little bit, a couple incompletions, and then UCLA has to punt, and then Maryland gets the ball back on their own 22, drives down the field, and gets a 27-yard field goal to make it 17-7. Decent kick through the end zone. Basically 3 plays and out before UCLA punts to end the half. And at the end of the half, it's Maryland 17, UCLA 7. As we enter the third quarter, Maryland gets ball back. You can see here just an injury to McCoy. That actually would hurt Maryland. He's the best guard. But they get a pass completion for 68 yards to Darren Smith. And then Logsdon is starting to run the ball pretty well. Get another completion, but of course it gets called back by unsportsmanlike conduct. They settle for another field goal to go up 20-7 and then kick it off. UCLA starts to move the ball again, gets a couple really good plays. As you can see, gets all the way down to the Maryland 29. The sack probably hurt them a bit, but Condon's moving the ball pretty well. And then they miss another field goal. So the score remains 27 with 6:41 left. Maryland, Logsdon begins to rush the ball. This is staple for Maryland. And you see that they march down the field, but again are not able to get close enough for a field goal and end up punting it and pinning UCLA back on their own 12. Condon comes out throwing. Again, another good thing. This is a big hit for Maryland to lose Trevino if he's truly out. And then you see that big pass play here to Alexander, who's really one of the better wide receivers for UCLA. A couple short gains to set up 3rd and 9. He gets sacked and coughs the ball out, and Maryland picks up the ball on the 33. Again, still 20-7, 3 plays and out, 3 incompletions, and they force the punt. UCLA gets the ball back again. Again, finds Alexander on a long pass play to get into Maryland territory. Good rush by McDaniel. And he gets sacked again by Eccles, but this time Barney hits the field goal. And it's now 20-10 early in the 4th quarter. So kick into the end zone. It's brought out by Hess. He gets about 33 yards. Maryland can't get anything going again and has to punt. Still 20-10. UCLA gets the ball on their own 13, and then one big play again to Nunez for 48 yards. You see here 3 straight completions by Condon. gets him to the Maryland 29, then 2 incompletions. Get a little bit of help from Maryland with a neutral zone infraction. Incompletion again, and they settle for another field goal, so it's now 20-13. They're within 7 with 9:20 left. Kickoff for UCLA, and what you see here is Maryland, again, being able to move the ball fairly well, but it just stalls out. They have to punt. It's probably the most Maryland's punted this season. And now UCLA gets the ball back down by 7. Cortez can't get anything. Condon misses, and then he gets a big play to Betts for 79 yards for a touchdown, which makes it 20-20. They convert the extra point, and now we're tied up with 6:05 left in the game. So they kick it. Maryland is forced to go 3 plays and out because they try to pass the ball on 3rd and 1, not able to do it. Not going to give the ball to UCLA on the 39, so they punt it away. And then same thing kind of happens here. Good rushing play to begin it, having to backed up against the end zone again, and UCLA is not able to make it move. Although what you see here is again a punt of 60 yards. Brock brings it back 68 yards and essentially takes it to the Maryland 1. The very next play, Logsdon punches it in to make it 27-20. Maryland kicks it back off. And now, 2:26 left. Good motion here from Condon, completes 3 passes in a row to get it to the Maryland 24. They, of course, need a touchdown. Next pass is dropped. That next pass is broken up. They get 4 yards to make it 4th and 2. And then they convert the 4th and 2. And then 2 straight incompletions. They get a 5-yard pass. Maryland helps them to get to the 4th and 1 on the Maryland 3. They try to pass the ball into the end zone. Maryland is able to stop it. Well, not stop it. Furman dropped it. And at that point, Maryland is at their own 3 yards. So, of course, they can't just kneel on it. They have to run it out. So they run the ball to the 9, force the punt with 30 seconds left. It's a decent punt, too, which gets it back on the UCLA side. You see an encroachment penalty on Maryland, and then Condon finds Alexander for 10, spikes, able to get 6 yards, spikes, and 3rd and 3. He is able to he spikes the ball, but the game ends on 4th and 3. This is a problem with 2025's version. It's not actually showing what the play was, but as you can see, it wasn't successful, and Maryland moves on to claim another national championship. And looking at the game, this is probably one of the worst passing games from a percentage that Condon's had this year. He did throw 2 touchdowns, only got sacked 3 times, 441 yards. Can't really call that a bad game from a yardage perspective. You can see Maryland did a really good job of clamping the run. And then you see that the missed field goals definitely hurt UCLA in the end. On the defense, they got good penetration on Shaka and were able to hurry him, knock him down, and sack him quite often. Maybe not as many pass defenses. On the Maryland side, you see Shaka didn't complete 50 passes either. Only 259 yards, 5 sacks. But definitely the player of the game in my eyes would be the Logsdon, who had 33 rushes for 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, will graduate with a national championship, and probably will be one of the top players in next year's draft. Hess had a big game as well. And you can see probably the difference here is Maryland missed less field goals. I think from a punting perspective, Maryland pinned them back quite a few times. And I think that was a big difference in this game as well. And then they did get pressure pretty consistently on Condon. They just weren't sacking him. But you see here Craddock, who is a defensive end, was essentially hurrying him 6 times, knocked him down twice. Ritchie, who is another defensive end, got a sack, hurried him, and knocked him down twice. And then people like Brock and Bard were able to break up passes. So all in all, great game, Stuart. Great season. I'm going to end it here. If you're interested in this league, let me know. We'd love to have you. This is probably the oldest Draft Day Sports College Football League out there. But thank you for your time tonight. I'm going to go ahead and upload this. and we'll talk to you later.